Hey, what's up everyone? Thanks for joining again. I'm glad you guys are here like always. We're gonna try to keep today's video nice and short. I'm not doing too much today. I'm really just trying to get into getting these fluids changed out. So we're gonna work on changing out the diff fluid and the trans fluid. All right, so for the job today, we've got Amsoil Severe Gear. We've got 2 quarts here because the diff apparently once emptied should take about 1.5 quarts. For the tools we'll be using today, I've got my 1/2 inch with a 3/8 adapter on the end of it, just because I want some extra grip. I don't know how tight those nuts and bolts are going to be, so going with the 1/2 inch. Got an extension because one of the actual fill bolt on the diff is on the it's being blocked by the exhaust, so I'm gonna have to get over it. So we've got an extension, and for the actual bolts we've got a size 10, what do you call this, a hex key, Allen key, whatever you want to call it, whatever you know it as, but we've got a size 10 of this, and this should be everything we need. Actually, the only other thing I'm forgetting is obviously a drain pan, because we've got to catch all of that old fluid. So this is our drain bolt right here. And the hex key, as you can see, will fit right in there. So that is a size 10, like I said. And then our fill bolt is over here on the side. As you can see, if you've got a dual exhaust still, you've got the exhaust kind of in the way of your ratchet. So you'll want to use an extension to be able to reach that a little bit better. If you've got a single exit, then you probably don't have a problem unless your exit is on the right side. But let's go ahead and get started with this. I'm gonna go ahead and actually start by trying to open up the fill bolt first. Because what I don't want to end up happening is that I get the drain bolt off, get all the fluids out, and then have any kind of issue getting the fill bolt open. Because then that would leave me in a pretty stuck and crappy predicament. So let's go ahead, get this fill bolt open. Once that's loose, we'll go ahead and we'll get this drain bolt open and get the fluid going. While that continues draining, I'm actually curious to see how much metal is on this magnet from the drain plug. I mean, I can see quite a bit there, but I don't think this fluid has ever been changed, and we're at, well, to my knowledge, it hasn't been changed recently, and we're currently at like 85K. So wouldn't be surprised if there's a good bit of gunk on there. I mean, it's not too bad, but there's definitely some stuff on there. I don't know if the lighting will show you, but bring the light down so you can take a better look. So you can kind of see there. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this off and let this continue draining. This diff fluid stinks. It's funky, yo. I don't know if that's age. I don't know if it just smells like that because it's such a not high viscosity. It's not the word I'm looking for, but it's a thicker oil. But yeah, this stuff is funky. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, get this cleaned up and let this continue draining. Once it's done, we'll come back and we'll put the plug back in and start filling it back up. Been a couple minutes now. So you can see that it's actually down to a really slow drip. I'm willing to call it quits at this point. This stuff, I can't express how much this stuff stinks. I mean, it's not a fart bomb on an elevator, but it's funky. But yeah, so it's down to a drip, so we've got most of what we can get out. I went ahead and cleaned up the drain plug. So we're gonna go ahead, clean this off, get the drain plug back in, remove that fill bolt, and start getting the fresh fluid back in there. All right, so we've got that nice and tightened up now. I was trying to torque it down, but my torque wrench is a little too long for the height that the car is raised at, so I can't really torque it, but I was able to see where the marking was made previously. So you can kind of see that green line there, so I just lined it up with that, and I think we'll call that enough. It only needs 25 foot-pounds, which isn't that much, so we'll leave it at that. But this is definitely a reminder for me to get a smaller torque wrench for tighter spaces like this. No, but I'm normally not the type of person to sit here and pull out torque specs and start getting real specific about how tight something is. But something like the diff, and then when we move forward to the trans, I try to be safe with those. So yeah, torque specs for all of these are about 25 foot-pounds, so try to stick to that. If you don't have a torque wrench at home, you can probably take a marker or something and mark where it's tightened at now and just try to get it back to that place just to be safe. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and get this fill bolt out, and once that's out, we'll go ahead and get the Amsoil in. All right, so that's 1 quart in, and it is dripping, but I don't think that's because it's full. It's actually because I just cut this nozzle a little too short, and it's just a little bit kind of backed up. So I'm gonna go ahead, open the next one. I'm gonna try not to cut it so short and see if we can get some more fluid in there before it starts actually spilling out. All right, guys, so I've got this other bottle opened up. I went ahead and cut the pour spout not so short, but I also changed the camera angle just so you can kind of see where it's going. So the Amsoil does come with this spout, so you can just push it in there and force the oil in. If you don't get this, you can still get a regular bottle, and you can use the like bottle pump to get the fluid from the bottle into the diff. That's actually the route I'm going when I go up to the front to the transmission, because the Nissan oil obviously comes in regular quart bottles. So we're gonna go ahead and get this in there now. All right, so now you can see it actually started trickling down. I missed most of it because, you know, I don't have 2 hands, but when it starts to overspill, you basically know that it's full. So we can go ahead and get this plug back in place. And then we're gonna go ahead and tighten it so that these lines match up, which isn't too much of a tighten job at all. We're now under the transmission, so just looking for our two bolts that we'll be messing with. We have our drain bolt here for the trans, and then similar to the diff, we've got the fill bolt over here. Sorry, can't get an angle, but yeah, up there. That's the fill bolt on the corner there, well, on the side. So everything for the transmission drain and fill is going to be pretty much similar to the diff. The only difference we're going to see is that we're using this Nissan MTF. Obviously, we can't pour this into the side of the transmission, so we've got we've got this fluid pump. So what this does is you'll insert this part into the bottle, and then you'll take the hose, put it into the side of the transmission, and basically pump the fluid from the bottle into the trans. Other than that, everything else is going to be pretty much the same. We'll start by loosening the fill bolt just to make sure there's no issues there and that there's not going to be any problems getting fluid in. And then we'll go ahead and drain. What I'm not sure about though is how much fluid how much oil my can hold. I've already got call it 2 quarts just about from the diff in there, and then we're gonna drain a couple quarts out of the trans. So I'm just hoping it doesn't overflow. I hope I have enough capacity for the fluid that I'm going for. But we'll go ahead, we'll get everything started and keep things moving. So just like the diff, I left this draining and dripping for a couple minutes, you know, went inside, got some water, stretched my legs, all that stuff. Came back and now we're down to a slow drip. So I'm gonna go ahead, clean that off and get the plug back in there, and then we'll work on filling new fluid in. Reading is fundamental. So this thing holds 10 quarts. So more than enough for everything that's going on today. This is what our setup is looking like. Don't make the mistake I did. I got the wrong size pump, so it doesn't actually latch onto the bottle, but it'll still work as a pump. I'll just have to hold it in place while I'm pumping. So we do have 4 quarts of Nissan Genuine MTF. We're gonna go ahead, pump this into the trans, same way as the diff. We'll just keep going until it starts overflowing out, which is our signal that the trans is filled to capacity. And then we'll go ahead, put the filled plug back in, and that should be torqued down to, I believe, 25 foot-pounds, maybe 26 as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Bottle number 3. Down to our last quart. This thing is a workout. Be sure to get the right pump, guys, because this thing pumps such a small amount at a time. I feel like I'm sitting here getting a workout, and it's arm day, and meanwhile I haven't been to the gym in like, yeah, let's not go there. All right, so I'm getting oil back out of the trans. You guys can see it dripping out there. So I think we've got enough. I'm actually gonna give it like 2 more pumps. Let it back out if it backs out, but I want to be sure that this thing is filled properly. So let's see what that does. Yeah, we're good. So what this ended up taking really was like 3.5 quarts. Gonna go ahead and let that even out. Actually, no, let's go ahead and put the plug in and get that to stop leaking and save whatever fluid we can in there. And we'll go ahead and tighten it up. And that's it. We're all set. All right, guys, so we're done with that. I'm glad it's over with, because that diff oil, that smell is still sitting here in the garage, and yo, I can't tell you how much it stinks. You'll figure it out one day. In terms of things I would change here and what happened today, I think everything went as easy as it could. I had all the tools I needed. The only thing I would change if I could, this thing. I know that they have pumps that push more volume at a time. I swear I was sitting there like, just pause. But I would get one that could help you out and might actually pump the fluids in a little bit quicker. That was probably the only like major takeaway from this. Other than that, everything else is good. I don't have to worry about diff fluid or trans fluid for like another 60,000 miles. So that's done for. Like I said, while the car is on jack stands, I'm just trying to get as much done as I can. So I don't have to worry about jacking it back up anytime soon. In terms of what else has to be done under the car while it's on jack stands, number 1 is axles. I don't know if you guys could see while I was doing the diff fluid, but both of the axles have busted boots. I already ordered axles. One of them is here, the other one is on the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace those while the car is up, because I don't want any axle issues further down the line. So that's 1. 2, underglow. Feel how you may about it. I'm still kind of I like underglow. I had it on my 6 and it was a nice touch, a nice finisher, especially when the car is aired out and it's low. that halo of light on the bottom. It's just such a nice touch. So I do have underglow on the way. We'll get that installed. Other than that, we've got a diff brace. I'm not sure how that's gonna work out because it did come with the car, but it's missing one of the bolts. It should have 3, and I think it's missing the bolt that goes through the actual subframe. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to use it. I've also got poly bushings for pretty much every bushing that needs to be replaced on here. Luckily, control arms in the front are still good, so I don't have to worry about getting replacements or putting those poly bushings in yet. I'm not gonna do that. I'll wait till something actually needs to be changed. I don't want to take off control arms or ball joints or anything like that if they're still in pretty good condition. But I do have replacements for all of those. Now for updates, there's a few things going on, not too much. I did decide that I'm gonna wrap those A-pillars, so that's why that one's still off. I was just test fitting that one back on to make sure it was gonna fit with some wiring over there. But I did get the same microfibery suede fabric that's on the dash, so I'm gonna wrap the A-pillars in that. I'm probably gonna take these lower rear panels off and spray those black to match the bottom half. I'm still debating the headliner. For me, headliners are a scary thing. I don't really want to take it off. I don't really care to do the little starlight effects, so I'm not sure if there's any value in taking it off. So I'm debating that, but definitely going to be wrapping the A-pillars. Definitely going to be painting off the back end of those panels. We did start doing the install for music, so my guy hooked me up with these kicker speakers. He had one set, so I did go ahead and just buy a matching set just so that they're the same all around. So I got one in. I still gotta do the rest of them. I did get this small amp from PRV Audio. It's like a Brazilian brand, but I see people talk about them. Apparently they're good amps. So I've got the amps wired in. Obviously I gotta finish cleaning up the wiring up there and finish cleaning up the air lines again. Obviously because I'm going a different route, now I need to go ahead and change all of this stuff. Well, the airline at least, and route it a different way so that it's not interfering with anything. But I do have this box that was custom made for my Mazda 6. I managed to get it to fit into my RAV4 for a while, then I took it out when I put in the air suspension because it is meant to land where the spare wheel falls, and that is the same spot where I decided to put the management in the RAV4 so that I would be able to keep my cargo space. So I ended up taking it out. Now after some test fitting and a few things, I am able to make it work in here along with the air management, but I'm gonna have to change a few things around. So I do have this extra board that I'm gonna cut in shape and get the air management on this, get some fabric on that. I might change out the carpeting on this because it's starting to look a little dingy and ugly, but that'll pretty much take up most of the trunk space. We'll clean all of that up. The existing carpets, I'm gonna spray black just for now. I don't think I wanna lay any fabric over it, and I don't wanna do like any real custom stuff to like box it off. Maybe I will, I don't know. But for now, that's the plan, is to go ahead and spray that fabric black, the actual trunk liner carpets, get this thing in there with the L7 that I have. That's what's gonna go there. And then the management will sit on that board towards the back and kind of tucked away and out of the way, but still very accessible from the back seat so that I can get to my fuses, get to my amps or anything else that I need to get to while, you know, if anything, God forbid, ever happens. I shouldn't say God forbid. Eventually, I'm going to blow a fuse or a check valve's going to go bad because, I mean, we are talking about bags. So, but yeah, guys, we've still got plenty to do. Still got to get back in the interior. Aside from doing the A-pillars, I've got to fix the seats. Obviously, I told you guys I had something I wanted to try to get that fixed up. So we'll see if that works out. We've got a new steering wheel coming in the mail. It's on its way. I believe it should be here on Monday. Just because there's nothing wrong with the purple one that I had, but it just doesn't go with what I'm doing with the car now. So I did get a different steering wheel, but along with that, I've also got the relays or fuses that we need to get the airbag light to turn off, because I'm really tired of seeing that every time I start the car. And we've also still got to do the door links, because nothing's more annoying than that. No matter how you set this door, it just won't stay open. So we've got new door links we're gonna put in, all of that stuff to come. So I ask you guys, stay tuned, stay with me, like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I'm not sitting here trying to turn this into like $1 million YouTube, but it's nice to have you guys watching. It's nice to have the feedback from friends and fam. With that, guys, I'm just gonna say peace out, God bless, and I'll see you guys next time.